Hi members, welcome to this video on key quotations in Romeo and Juliet. Quite a short one this. I go through each of the acts and select what I perceive to be the key quotations. Obviously you may have some favourites of your own, that's fine, and I'm not suggesting for a second that you need to memorise all of these. Just pick one or two, preferably pick one or two that you can maybe apply to a character and to a theme perhaps, as that kind of ticks two boxes for the price of one. Okay, so you've got to start with the prologue, where it sets out the stall for the story. Two households, both alike in dignity. Okay, establishing the equal status of the Montagues and the Capulets. They are of equal standing, they're equally wealthy, equally powerful, and they hate each other. From ancient grudge break to new mutiny where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. So there's a reference to the feud that has plagued both families for generations and continues today. Links to the theme of conflict as well as family, perhaps. Ancient grudge, it's so old that they really don't know where it started. And certain characters are just quite keen and enthusiastic to continue it, Tybalt in particular. But what of Romeo and Juliet themselves? Well, they are a pair of star-crossed lovers that take their life. So highlighting the devastating consequences of this ancient grudge, this feud, and links to the theme of fate, star-crossed lovers. The fearful passage of their death-marked love. So again pointing to how fate plays its hand, and the two young lovers end up dead, death-marked love. That's the prologue. Moving on to Act 1. I fear too early, for my mind misgives, some consequence yet hanging in the stars. Do check out my other video, or one of my other videos on fate, where I explore the theme in a lot more depth. But here Romeo again is referencing the stars. He senses that gate crashing the Capulet ball could yet lead to no good. So foreshadowing. Again, dramatic irony. I mean, the audience know from the prologue that it doesn't end well for Romeo and Juliet. So any hints that we see from the two characters that they feel like something is not right, or there's something's destined to end badly, is of greater significance. Did my heart love till now? So Romeo in love. Remember, he opens the play depressed, feeling terribly sorry for himself because the object of his affections, Rosaline, doesn't love him back, doesn't even know of his existence, and he's utterly depressed as a result. But then he sets eyes on the beautiful Juliet, and Rosaline who? All of a sudden, did my heart love till now? My only love sprung from my only hate. So this is Juliet ruining the realization that Romeo is from her family's sworn enemy. So emphasizing how Juliet and Romeo are the innocent victims of this ancient feud. Again, here's Juliet's turn to sense something wrong, or to foreshadow. My grave is like to be my wedding bed. She was right, really. I hate hell, all Montagues and thee. So the one character who's quite volatile and who seems quite keen to continue this ancient grudge at every opportunity. Tybalt enthusiastically continuing the feud against the Montagues, vows to seek revenge for Romeo gate crashing the Capulet ball. Remember, his uncle, Lord Capulet, prevented him from fighting Romeo once he realised Romeo was at the Capulet ball in the first instance. Didn't want to create a scene. In fact, Lord Capulet said that he's heard good things about Romeo, so Lord Capulet was disinclined to continue the grudge, but Tybalt, headstrong, rush of blood, revenge. Act 2. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Juliet on her love's origins, despite desperate to find a way past this obstacle. In other words, is his name important? Doesn't change who he is. If he was called something else, if he was called John Smith, he'd still be the same person, Romeo, to her, the person she's just fallen head over heels in love with. Now, here's my old mate, Friar Lawrence. Check out the Friar Lawrence video for a more in-depth analysis of his character and his role in the tragic events. But he does say these violent delights have violent ends. He's offering advice to Romeo. He's in loco parentis. He kind of takes the place of Romeo's parents when Romeo wants advice and support, in a similar way to the nurse for Juliet. Encouraging Romeo to slow down and be careful, not to rush things, which is ironic coming from him, considering what he does. I'm not the Friar's biggest fan, you may work out. Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Juliet still grappling with the identity of her lover, but prepared to give up her own name if Romeo would do the same. Love will conquer all. She remains loyal to him throughout. Act 3. Wisely and slow. They stumble that run fast. This is the Friar continuing the role of confidant and offering a bit of advice to Romeo to slow down. Yet his actions are questionable in their wisdom. Very ambitious plot, giving Juliet a potion to give her the appearance of being dead for 36 hours, or sending a message to Romeo that didn't get through. Anyway. Oh, I am fortune's fuel. Now, a couple of these quotations are in the wrong order. I've just noticed. Sorry for that. Oh, I am fortune's fool. So fortune again is fate. Having just killed Tybalt, Romeo realised the potential consequence of these actions. Remember, the prince, the chief of police, said that if anyone else is caught fighting from either of these two families, they will be executed. And Romeo's just married Juliet, and he's thinking, "Oh no, I'm going to be separated from my one true love." Now, Mercutio's dying words: "A plague of both your houses. They have made worms meat of me." So this is a play on words. Linked to the needless nature of the ancient grudge, and yet another innocent life lost to it. I think you are happy in the second match, for it excels your first. Now this is the nurse betraying Juliet by recommending she marries Paris. Not entirely the nurse's fault, because up against the power and authority of Lord Capulet, she's nothing, because it's a very patriarchal society in which they exist, where Lord Capulet, as the head of the household, what he says goes. So he's instructing Juliet to marry Paris that week. He sees her upset and thinks it's because of the death of Tybalt, but really it's because, well, partly because of Tybalt's death, but primarily because she's been separated from Romeo, who is now her husband. But she can't tell her parents this. I mean, she is only 14, or just about to turn 14, or has just turned 14. But she does turn to the nurse in desperation almost. And the nurse says, well, actually, you'd be better off marrying Paris, which is a real dagger to the heart for Juliet, and which kind of causes her to go off to find the friar and threaten to kill herself unless he helps her. Do as thou wilt, for I have done with thee. This is her mother, Juliet's mother, Lady Capulet, disassociating herself from her daughter's disobedience. Again, patriarchal society. So her husband, Lord Capulet, he's the boss, telling her that she's on her own. But Lady Capulet herself married when she was Juliet's age, so she should maybe perhaps show a little bit more understanding, or perhaps she's saying, well, if I had to do it, you should do it. Shut up about it. And this is Lord Capulet, delightful father. Hang, beg, starve, die in the streets, for by my soul I'll never acknowledge thee. If you don't do as I've asked you to do, you're dead to me. You know, as a parent myself, that's pretty harsh. Act 4. Oh, you'll be relieved there's only a few on this one. Be not so long to speak, I long to die. Repetition, pun on long. Juliet asking Friar Lawrence to get to a solution quickly, reflecting her despair. I'll kill myself if you don't help me, basically. All our whole city is much bound to him. Ironic, as much of the blame for his daughter's death could lie at the hands of Friar Lawrence. What if it be a poison which the friar subtly hath ministered to have me dead? So Juliet doubts the friar, because this is quite a brave act. She's taken a potion that's going to send her to sleep for 36 hours. Kind of challenging what she kind of knows already, possibly. She does trust, ultimately trusts the friar, but she's thinking here, she's having a little bit of a waver, a little bit of doubt, a weak moment. Well, she want to, do you know what? What if this is just to kill me? Because she acknowledges that he's got a lot to lose if this gets out. But she takes the potion. As Romeo learns of Juliet's death, I defy you, stars, so fate again. Thus with a kiss I die, juxtaposing death and love, Romeo's act of suicide. Thus with a kiss I die. Oh, happy dagger, let me die. Again, that juxtaposition, this oxymoron, happy dagger, highlighting how happy Juliet is to be able to die and join her lover Romeo in death. And then the final two words, the rhyming couplet to conclude the play, emphasising the sheer sadness of the story. For never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo. There you go. There's quite a few quotations there. Again, you do not have to memorise them all. 4 or 5 throughout, maybe 6 throughout, especially if you can select quotations that apply to character and theme, so they can double up. That would be great. Okay, I hope that's been useful for you. See you in the next video. Bye.